Conley's going to have our prayer.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Gracious Lord, as we come before you today, we ask you bless us with wisdom and knowledge and guidance, that the things we do would be great for the people of this community. And we just ask you to be with those who travel and work, especially those working on the roads around the courthouse today, that you would bless them and keep them safe and have their work productive and make a better community and better place for us to live. We just ask you to be with all our county employees. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Especially Marcia.
Okay. We'll go ahead and entertain a motion for the signing of the claims in a minute.
So moved.
Second that.
All's in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right. Steve. Good morning.
Steve needs
Well, it's the time of year again. I'd like permission to advertise, I feel bad, Rhonda, that I didn't have that. For the 2024 annual bids, I'd like permission to advertise on 10/4 and 10/11. That'll go out in the papers, and it's part of what we have to do. We have to advertise 2 weeks before we open them. And then I'd like permission to open them on 11/6, 2023 here at 9:15.
Make a motion to approve that request.
Second.
Okay, all's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you,
Nothing else.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh, wow. Kip. Good morning, Kip. How you doing?
Good morning.
Are you all settled in now? I mean, it's been a while.
I think I am.
You liking it? Is it
I
good?
am.
You look comfortable and
I am
relaxed.
enjoying
That's
it.
good.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
This morning I'm coming before you to ask for your permission to apply for the Emergency Management Performance Grant, the EMPG. This deals with salaries, and it deals with 50% of the salary of full-time EMA employees. And it covers the fiscal year 2023. The max amount based on our population that we can apply for is 55,000, and I'm asking for your permission to apply.
I'll make the motion. We accept your request.
Second that.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And next, I just wanted to make you aware, just for your own situational awareness, that on Wednesday, October 4th, there will be a nationwide emergency alert test. So you'll get it over broadcast, radio, and TV, but it'll also be over wireless emergency alert systems. So all cell phones will also receive that emergency warning test. So just want to make sure you're aware of that, because that's going to happen. It'll be around 2:20,
The date again, please.
October 4th, Wednesday,
okay.
October 4th,
Thank you.
2:20 PM.
You need us to approve that? I'm just joking.
What?
We don't have quite that. I was just joking with you. I said you need us to
If
approve
you want it
that.
or not.
Nationwide.
Surely
We're
they
not
won't,
doing
surely they
I
won't do
don't
it if
think
we
you're
don't
going to have a
approve it.
choice. So just want to make you aware of it. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Skip.
Keep up the good work.
Okay, now we have ARPA recommendations.
Yes, so the ARPA committee met this past month, or a couple weeks ago, I guess. They had 3 recommendations to bring to the commissioners: the wagon wheel renovation sustainability project for $350,000, Joe Kids for $121,503, and the YMCA for $100,000. These have been approved by the ARPA committee. The recommendations are to approve to the commissioners, and then in October, it will go to the council for approval.
Okay, thank you, Marcia. All right, I'd like to take these one at a time if we could, just start at the top and vote on them individually, if that's okay. I don't know if you guys want to, we can have some open discussion on it.
Well, I know I sit on the ARPA committee. I know that all 3 of these were approved by the ARPA committee. I did abstain from the YMCA due to conflict of interest, but they both, all 3 were there, presented their presentation to the ARPA committee, even some visits to the Wagon Wheel and some of the others, you know, we felt as though these were all things that were impacted significantly by COVID, and feel as though they provide a service in our community that is valuable, and we made a approval for those three to be approved.
Bob, you have anything you want to?
Yeah, I guess I got concerns with a couple of them, but I think the why thing, I think if we can work some kind of a deal there where county employees can be recipient of it being close to the Justice Building and the courtroom, just down the street, I'd be in favor of that. And if they come and they ask and it's ARPA money, my only question, Carrie, is, do you feel of these three, that there was maybe someone who is more worthy or more needed maybe the money more than what, I mean, the $350,000 to Wagon Wheel, a one-time deal with ARPA money, I wouldn't do it with local tax money, but with ARPA money, I think that's a different ballgame altogether. And that money's pretty much spoken for already with these three. So I definitely have no problem with Joe's Kids, and no problem with YMCA if there can be some more direct benefit to county employees.
Well, pretty much as far as give you an update on the ARPA committee, I mean, currently, if these three were approved, because there was a approval for the tower project as well during that meeting, that pretty much there would only be just a pinch under $5,000 that would be left of our ARPA funds that's left to delegate. We had closed the request gate as far as we set a deadline on when applicants could actually apply. I think that was back in June, maybe, that we stopped applications coming in. And of the applicants that we had left, these were the ones that rose to the top that we felt were most impactful and met the requirements that we were looking for with these ARPA funds of making, you know, a long-term impact and seeing some sort of return on investment for our community, so.
Okay. I guess my thinking on Wagon Wheel renovation project, $350,000 for a roof, that's just on the Wagon Wheel building, it's not on the restaurant part?
Yeah, this is just their current,
Just the Wagon Wheel
just the Wagon
performance?
Wheel facility itself.
Okay.
I mean, it was a roof, and there's some other drainage issues. I think there might have been
Right.
some updating in the
Okay.
restrooms, but it was part of like a 1.1 million, so, you know, it's not necessarily, the 350 was part of a bigger project that they were having to fundraise, you know, pretty much a 2-to-1, as far as they were gonna have to fundraise twice as much as what we were giving them. So it's not like there isn't gonna be skin in the game from the local community to try and make the project
So
happen.
they'd have to come up with 700,000?
Correct.
Okay. I guess I'd have no problem with Wagon Wheel if we split that and gave them like half of what they're asking for, but held the other half if they needed it, or if we need it for the tower project. I'd hate to start that tower project and have given money to a private entity like that and then have to borrow money or do something different to help the tower project out. Is that possible to do that?
Well, the ARPA committee is, you know, they vote on it. It is a recommendation. It's something that both the commissioners, you know, that's the, you know, everybody has to agree with what's being approved, because the ARPA committee has to approve it, commissioners and council, all three boards have to approve for that to be able to move forward. You know, I know that it is a significant reduction from what they were asking for, so I mean, there was, you know, I mean, this is I'm not saying they were unhappy that they received 350, but I mean, they were probably
think.
disappointed that they weren't receiving more, because it was a third of what they had actually originally requested. You know, and we are asking them to pretty much do a 2-to-1, so I mean, they've got to come up with the 700,000 almost locally. So I mean, if we're looking at how we're leveraging taxpayer dollars, we're getting a 2-to-1 match on those dollars that we are putting towards that, and that was some of the stuff we were looking at, that we were trying to leverage these dollars as much as possible.
I understand that, but they're not going to be coming to anybody else in government asking for money to make up that 750, that's all got to be private? I wouldn't want to give them ARPA money and then have them come back and ask for tax money.
Well, I mean, I think that historically, everybody knows Kosciuszko County, we've never been in a position that we've had tax dollars that we've given out to private entities like this. I think the difference in this, it is ARPA funds that were given to the county based upon the population that's in our county. And that's to really, they wanted it kind of boots on the ground of the local officials being able to see what the real needs were in the community to help identify those needs and get the funds to the right location in our community. So, I mean, I think that even though there's a fair amount of this money that the county has used for tower projects and 1300 North and other projects, you know, it's one of those things that we felt as though this was a project that kind of met that criteria.
I said this before.
But I guess my question wasn't answered. Is it possible that we hold some of that money, say 100,000 of that back in case we need extra money for the tower project? Because I know with other tower projects, at some point in time, we ran into something we had to have more money for.
I mean, there's, you know, whatever is approved, I mean, then we'll go on to, I guess, because it's a recommendation from ARPA, I don't know if we approve something less than the recommendation, because it's only a recommendation, as long as the council approves it, I think it would not have to go back to the ARPA committee, but I'm not
That would make sense.
an expert, because, I mean, the real authority is back to the commissioners and the council on the approval of that. It is a recommendation that comes from the ARPA committee. So, I
Right,
mean,
I understand.
I guess what I'm, in a roundabout way, what I'm saying is I think you could reduce that and it would be, you know, okay. You know, and I think we've got a little bit of time yet. I think the monies have to be fully allocated by the end of 2024, fully spent and expensed by end of 2026. So there is a little bit of time left in the time as far as it's not like we're up against but everything has to be spent, so it's not just that you've selected a project, everything has to be built out and completed, so we need to make sure that would meet the criteria, but we are, you know, the tower project, we are moving forward with that.
Yeah.
You know, and we're hoping by, you know, that ought to be up maybe by first quarter, third quarter, for sure, our second quarter for sure of next year.
So just so the commissioners are clear, the commissioners do have the authority to deny the request or reduce the request that has been recommended by the ARPA committee. You can do that.
And I think so. That's what I'd like to see us do on the wagon wheel renovation. That's still $250,000. That's, you can put on a really nice roof for that kind of money. And they've got some drainage issues. I think if they get to the point where they can show us they need the extra money because it's a real cost. But there's second stage money there as well, because if they get to 250,000 and they don't use it within 2 years, that comes back to the ARPA committee. It's secondary money. So, even if they need extra money, the 100,000 would be there. If they don't, then the money that they don't use would be coming back as secondary money as well. So that'd be my suggestion is we do the 250 for them. We do the 121,503 for Joe's kids and the 100,000 for the Y.
Again, we want to keep those separate. I've said this before, and we're allowed to disagree. I think that for spending government money, these are great causes. They're great causes, but I think we're way out of our lane and our what we're supposed to be. I mean, we're basically taking people's tax money and donating them as we see fit. And I've always had a problem with that, even with the non-for-profits. They're great causes, but that's a private sector thing. That's just my opinion.
That's why I'd like to reduce that. That's a entertainment venue more than anything else. Yes, there's some edification there for kids. They have some kids programs that they assist with, but that's my recommendation.
Okay, so we want any more discussion, or are we ready to start motions? But again, let's do them separately.
Okay? So I'm fine.
Ready to entertain a motion for the first one.
I make the motion that I just suggested.
Can you restate it?
250,000 initially to the wagon wheel from ARPA funds, with 100,000 being held to be used for the tower project if necessary.
Okay.
Just, I think for clarity, because that additional, can the commissioners add stuff to the ARPA? I think we can reduce what the recommendation was, but I think for additional 100 to be given to the tower, that would probably have to go
Yeah,
back through.
so Bob, just a clarification on your motion. You can state, kind of what you're thinking, but I would suggest that if you want to reduce it, that'd just be the motion, that you reduce it to a certain amount.
Okay.
And not designate the rest of the money to any particular matter.
Okay, that'd be my motion, to reduce it to 250,000.
I'd second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And opposed, aye. So, okay, so the next one, Joe Kids.
Thank you, gentlemen, I appreciate that. I make a motion, we fully fund Joe's Kids.
I second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second. That one I can get more behind because of the childhood development and stuff. So we'll call for the question. All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
And opposed? Okay. All right, the YMCA. Bob, you already made some comments about that.
Yeah, there again, it's close by, it's in close proximity to the Justice Building, and I know the Zimmer Building over here, if you're in the downtown area very much, you'll see their employees walking around their building and in the general vicinity downtown during their break time and their lunch hour. They get out of the office and they do exercise and stuff to keep themselves physically fit. I think with the health programs that Marcia has put together over the years and the accolades we've gotten for that, I think if we could get memberships for YMCA, for county employees to use that at a reduced rate or free, I think I'd be in favor of that. So I'd make a motion, we accept the $100,000 for the YMCA project.
Okay, we got a motion.
I'm going to abstain from that vote.
How does that work with a second if we both abstain?
You're abstaining?
I'm on the fence.
Well, you don't have the necessary votes then, if you abstain.
It dies. If you think you can get that done, that'd be awesome.
You're confident? I mean, I know mine isn't as great.
I am confident, yeah. You can vote on this matter.
I think
Carrie has a conflict.
I think we can work on that stipulation that I made with county employees. It's not part of my motion, but I think we can understand that we can negotiate those things with the Y and maybe come up with an equitable agreement
I'm sorry, Bob, negotiate
with
what?
county employees, maybe getting a reduced rate if they want to be.
But that's not part of your motion.
No.
Right,
It's
you
not.
can't, we don't have the authority to do that, obviously.
That's just a discussion.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go ahead and second that motion.
Okay, call the vote.
Okay, all those in favor? Aye. Okay,
Abstain.
okay. All right. Got through that. Matt? Mayor, thanks for being here today. It's good to see you.
Snuck in on us, didn't you? Uh-huh.
Good morning. We've got a couple recommendations to bring to you this morning that the Plan Commission is passing along. The first one's for a vacation hearing, and this is out on Hoffman Lake. Just got some small maps here, and I apologize for that.
That's all right.
Boy, those are small.
I know.
Man.
You already saw
We're
it.
testing your eyes.
I got to use my bifocals.
We are on the,
Have you already seen it?
yeah, we're on the east side of Hoffman Lake, right between the subdivisions. You'll know that Williamson's newer subdivision that's right there, seen from Old 30, and Old Ray subdivision. What the petitioners are looking at doing is vacating the last northern part of Ray Drive in that Ray subdivision, Old Ray subdivision. That area right now is just a grassed area. Plan Commission did look at it, had some pretty good discussion about access, how that could impact other owners. They felt ultimately at the end of the discussion that it would have minimal impact and recommended vacation unanimously.
Okay. Anyone here wishing to speak in favor of this? Anyone opposed? No, we'll close the meeting to the public.
I make a motion to accept the unanimous recommendation area plan.
Second that?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that was easy. Hope they're all that easy, man.
I think they are. All right, next we have a rezoning recommendation for you. And this is for Brett Harder, and this is up off of Armstrong Road. Petitioner has 6.22 acres, and you'll see on the map, properties outlined there. Shading coloring is residential will be yellow to the north there. Agricultural is unshaded, and then you'll see just to the south a little bit is some orange, which is Ag 2. Ultimately, the petitioner is looking at rezoning his 6+ acres to Ag 2 for ultimately a 2-lot Ag 2 subdivision as presented to the Plan Commission. Plan Commission reviewed it, looked it over, felt that that was a good fit for that area, given the transition between the Ag and the residential, and do send on a favorable recommendation to rezone unanimously.
All right. Thanks, Matt. Anyone here wishing to speak in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, we'll go ahead and close the meeting to the public and make a decision.
Make a motion to approve.
Second, I think what was discussion, I think what he's wanting to do there, he's got 2 kids and he wants to divide up the land so that his kids and grandkids can live next door to him and they can have a pony, so I would call the vote.
Okay, all's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
All right, one last rezoning recommendation for you, and this one is for Showalter, and this is a 23-acre parcel, and we are on the north end of, we're north on State Road 15. Looking at the map, if you're familiar with where Copeland storage units are, just right north of that is an ag tract that is zoned, that is currently zoned agricultural at 23 acres. Petitioners requested for that acreage to go from agricultural to residential. Looking at the map, the color coding, or I'm sorry, from
gonna say.
agricultural to commercial.
That makes sense.
Yes, that makes more
that does
sense.
make
Looking at the map and the color coding there, the red is currently commercial, so you can see north and south have commercial, as well as to the east. You'll see some blue to the northeast there. That is the Fenton Brown I-2 property. Everything unshaded back to the west is agriculture currently. Ultimately, in looking at it, the Plan Commission felt that this was within that corridor where we have seen commercial development, felt that that was a good fit. Obviously, the developer would have to work through all the components of it, but did send on a favorable recommendation to rezone from ag to commercial unanimously.
Okay. Anyone wishing to speak in favor? Anyone opposed? Okay, close the meeting to the public and we'll render a decision.
I make a motion, we accept the unanimous recommendation of the area plan, and noting that that is in the overlay district as well, so.
I'd second that. I also know there's sanitary sewer running down the frontage of that, so
Yep.
it makes sense to have.
That was a big part of our discussion.
Which was upsized by the forward-thinking commissioners back then.
Good job, gentlemen.
All right.
Outgoing.
We'll entertain a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All
Thanks,
right.
Matt.
Thank you. Ed?
2 things for the commissioners this morning. First is we have an amended and restated ordinance regarding the Kosciuszko County Justice Building security. If you recall, we had passed an ordinance back on August 15. I'll read the applicable portions of that ordinance and give a little bit of detail on the changes made. First, number 1, no person other than law enforcement officers, elected officials, officers of the court, and authorized security personnel for the Justice Building shall possess within the Justice Building any deadly weapon as defined by Indiana Code 35-31.5-2-86. 2, except as otherwise authorized by one of the judges and except for law enforcement officers, elected officials, officers of the court, authorized security personnel for the Justice Building and employees or contractors of the county or the state of Indiana that are conducting official business. No person shall possess or use a mobile phone on the second floor of the Justice Building. 3, no person shall bring food or drink into the Justice Building except for persons that work at the Justice Building. 4, a violation of Section 1 of this ordinance may result in a fine up to but not more than $2,500 for the first violation, and up to but not more than $7,500 for a second or subsequent violation per Indiana Code 36-1-3-8A10B. 5, a violation of Section 2 or 3 of this ordinance may result in a fine up to but not more than $100 for the first violation and up to but not more than $250 for a second or subsequent violation per Indiana Code 36-1-3-8A10B. 6, this ordinance does not restrict the lawful authority of the judges to adopt more restrictive orders or rules within and about the courtrooms of the Justice Building. 7, previous ordinance 23-08-15-001 is hereby repealed and replaced by this ordinance. That is the amended ordinance itself. The changes that were made to the ordinance that was passed on August 15 are 2 changes. The commissioners have taken out the portion of the previous ordinance that said that no person shall use a device to record audio or video or to take pictures in the Justice Building. And then the second and only other change is that the penalty for possession and use of a mobile phone on the second floor of the Justice Building has been changed from a fine of up to $2,500 to a fine of up to $100 and then $250 for subsequent violations. That amended and restated ordinance is submitted to the commissioners for consideration.
Okay. Gentlemen, any discussion?
I make a motion, we accept the changes.
Just to confirm, Ed, so pretty much that means that no cell phones on the second floor, but the first floor you could have cell phones.
That's correct.
I'd second that motion.
I would add that we walked through the Justice Building and tried to come up with an area upstairs that made sense to be able to have phones, and with the layout of it, the judges' chambers are all right there. It's really almost impossible to have an area up there. And also, we've talked about getting lockers so that people don't have to return to their cars too, from a convenience standpoint, so they can get them in and out and have them. So,
And I think also our discussion was definite delineation of first floor. That's pretty obvious. You come in the door, you can use your phone. But when you go up the stairs or up the elevator, that's that line that we drew to get a better balance so that people can use their phones if they need to, access information on their phones as needed, but still give security and some sorts of semblance to the judges and the courtrooms. So I appreciate that, Brad. Thank you. I'd call the vote.
okay, all those in favor
Aye.
Aye.
and all those opposed? Okay. All right. Ed, do you have anything else?
Yeah, the second matter concerns a property that the county owns. The property is located at 9020 South Smalley Lane in Claypool. This is a property that was cleaned up by the health department. The county does own it, but is not using it. And it would make sense for the county to go ahead and list this for sale through the sheriff. So we need the commissioners to approve that if they so choose.
I make a motion that we so choose, and we put it back on the market to be sold, and we can recoup some of the money used to clean the site up, and well as get it back on the tax rolls. So I'd make that motion.
Second that.
Okay, any discussion or questions? All's in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay.
Nothing
Anything else,
further.
Ed? Okay, Marcia,
I have nothing today, thank you.
Rhonda. Wow. Any department heads? No. Oh. What's that? Sure.
Smalley property?
Public comment?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
Just
come on
come
up
up and
and-
state your name, if you would.
He's the guy who wants to buy.
My name is Nate Myers. I live right across from the property. Initiated this last spring to get it cleaned up. in which you did send somebody out pretty quickly to get it cleaned up, but the problem is that there's still a pile of trash laying there. Did start mowing the grass about 3 weeks ago, but until then, nothing was done all year. When that happened, I bought the property right beside of it because I wanted to clean it up too, because it was, both were just a total complete mess. I'm sure you guys seen both of them. In 2 weeks, I filled two 40-yard dumpsters, took 52 tires, 8 engines, 7 small engines, and I don't know how much trash we took out of there. That was a complete mess. 2 weeks later, I got a letter from the county stating that I had a shed on my residence that didn't have a house on it anymore, that I needed to do something about it. So I came in and asked, well, what do you mean? What do I need to do about it? Well, they said, well, you need to combine that with the property that you have across the street. No big deal. I said, well, why is that? They said, well, in 1979, there's an ordinance passed that you can't have a shed on a property without a residence on it. And I said, well, you guys have the same thing on that property right across from me. There's a shed sitting there, still sitting there. Nobody's done anything with it. I'm just trying to figure out a date on when, like, I know you said today that you're gonna put it up for sale, but I'm trying to find out a date, because that's what we've been trying to find out for 2 years now.
Yeah.
Like, do we have an actual date when it can go up for, sheriff's sale?
It'll be noticed out after this meeting, and there's a 2-week notice period, and then it'll
Okay,
be up
I'm
for
just curious,
bid.
because I mean,
Yeah.
I've left 3 voicemails in the last 3 months for the commissioners meeting. Nobody's called me back. Me and my wife have came to your office and asked you, and I mean, we're trying to be as patient as we can, but I'm trying to look for answers also. It's very frustrating.
Yeah,
I think once we meet with the sheriff and confirm when the auction's
when
gonna
the
be,
date will be.
does somebody have your number? We give you a call once we,
I hope everybody has it. I've contacted everybody
You
on
haven't
at
contacted
this.
me. Just
Huh?
FYI. I haven't heard from you, just FYI. I mean,
Well,
I would've called you back.
whatever chain, whenever I call the courthouse and it goes to the commissioner's voicemail,
Marcia has your number.
I've left a
So-
voicemail there 3 times, sir. I don't know, I mean.
That's fine, I'm just saying, if you called me, I would call you back. I even call salesmen.
I'm just saying, whenever it says it's the commissioner's voicemail, leave a message, that's what I did. I'm
I
sorry.
do
enough.
have your wife's phone number. I was going to call her back after this meeting with information.
Okay, I appreciate that. I mean, I thought we gave ample amount of time. I mean, I called at least 3 weeks ago when I left the last voicemail.
And the deal with, if there's no residence, you can't have a shed or storage building on it. I think that's something we can take a look at through area plan. And if there needs to be changes there, I think we can take a look at that.
I came in to do that, and they told me that I had to go to Staples and get the paperwork, that I couldn't do it here. So that's when I told them, well, whenever we get
Now
this other.
now the property will be up for sale and you can do what you need to do.
Well, I hope so.
Get that done.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. Thank you.
I appreciate you cleaning things up too.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you. All right, anybody else? If not, our next meeting is October 10th.
Matt Banta, just questions again about the Justice
Right.
Building. Very glad to see that the photography part was taken away, but I have questions about the second floor. On the second floor, is there any part of the second floor that is open to the public? Now, I understand the judges have discretion over their courtrooms, not hallways, not the public lobby, things like that. So to me, this sounds like a deprivation of property if you tell me I can't take my phone up to the public lobby to support somebody that's going into court. Now, I understand that I can't use my phone in court, but this whole ordinance was put together, in my understanding, to protect the judges from people misbehaving in court. I have a problem with my rights being taken away because of somebody else's behavior. Judges should deal with behavior on a case-by-case basis. But if you deny the public access to their own property in a place that they're allowed to be in public, that's a Fourth Amendment violation, and you're looking for a lawsuit.
Okay.
And that's all I've got to say. I've seen this done in other places across the United States. I've seen it challenged, and I've seen big lawsuits paid out. And I don't understand why our county is just following suit with what other counties are doing, rubber stamping it, without thinking about constitutionality, its citizenry, and how they're going to take it. And I'm not a guy that's gonna just sit down. This is not right.
I
You know,
appreciate you
and
saying
it's probably
something.
something that I'm never going to actually use. You know, I don't see myself being upstairs and needing to have my phone, but I also know court. If I'm supposed to be there at 9 AM, I may not be seen till 1. If I'm gonna sit in a public lobby, I'm gonna take my phone and I'm gonna play games. I'm gonna occupy my time while I'm waiting. You're not allowing me to do that.
No, we're allowing you to do that on the first floor.
You're not allowing me to do
That's
that on the
inside
second
the
floor.
building.
If
That's
I have to
public
go to
space.
court, am I supposed to sit on the first floor until court is called? Or am I supposed to wait on the second floor?
That's totally up to you. You can do what you want to do. I don't care. You can wait outside the building. I
That is a
mean,
great
lot of
comment,
people
that's a
do
great
that.
commentary while you're being recorded, that you don't care.
Pardon me?
That's a great commentary while you're being recorded, that you don't care. I'd just be more
Who said I
careful
don't
with your
care?
words.
I didn't say I don't care.
You actually did. Cameras don't lie.
That's your interpretation.
Okay.
So I guess I've said what I need to say. Any commentary back?
I appreciate you bringing it up and
Appreciate it.
respect your opinion.
Yeah, I agree with that. I echo those sentiments.
Okay, anybody else? So we'll plan on being back here on October 10th.
If we didn't approve the 350, they can't approve